Hello and welcome to today's version of the Keynote Curators Live, LinkedIn Live. Today is Wednesday, right around the noonish hour when we broadcast our LinkedIn Live to all of our followers and listeners. I'm Seth Deckman. I'm here with my guests, Shaquille O'Neal, Magic Johnson, and Ernie Johnson, and we're about to begin the NBA TNT on the Keynote Curators YouTube channel. Just kidding, although that would be kind of fun. Today, I want to talk about the Keynote search process. This is an ongoing theme with me and my clients all the time. And I want to talk about why it might not be working for you. And just as a reminder, if any of you at any point during this conversation who are tuned in want to send a chat or a direct message, or any that listen later once the recording is posted, feel free to reach out to us via all of our social channels, on our website, via email, give us a call, and we'd be happy to answer any questions and continue this conversation. So why is your Keynote speaker search not working, or not working as well as you would like it to? I think there's a couple of fundamental errors in thinking around the search. One of them is that there exists this famous mythical kind of speaker circuit where speakers create themselves and cause themselves and become professional enough to the point where they can kind of jump into this circuit and move around and do their presentations and book dates and get in front of all sorts of audiences, and they're on this circuit. Now, while that's true for golfers, for tennis players, for athletes, for even some musicians, those talent levels, those speakers that are being sought after to jump into an Aspen Ideas Festival or a 92nd Street Y speaker series, or some of the more famous, better known series around the world, those are really hard to jump into. You need to have access to them, and you need to have a speech, a book, a name, if you will, to be sought out. So one of the biggest mistakes that meeting professionals, event planners, people that are hiring keynote speakers make is that they begin the process at a time where they think they have enough space between when their search begins to when the event happens, to actually when the day and the time that the speaker or speakers are going to speak. And that amount of time that they've determined will, whether it's weeks, months, or even a year, will ongoingly will help give them enough time and space between their searching time and the event happening to find the perfect fit. And that works a lot of the time. But what it does is it generates a sense of, it's right on the line of like a desperation and an urgency. It's urgent, there's intentionality. But as you begin the search, especially with committees or a lot of members or a lot of opinions involved, things can kind of the can get kicked down the road a little bit. And then you narrow the list down, and then becomes a question of availability. While maybe the initial curated list of recommendations that happened 3 or 4 weeks ago, everyone was available, things change over time. Now you might ask, well, why aren't you constantly checking availability? Well, we are, but things still change. It's very dynamic. If a speaker gets booked yesterday, but I checked in the morning if they were available, today, until I check again, they're still available. So it is dynamic, and you have to build in a little bit of a margin for error on that. It causes a unnecessary energy around Are we going to get the speaker? Are we going to get the speaker? As you get closer and closer to the date and the booking, you want to have your speaker booked in enough time to be able to market them, introduce them to your attendees, include them in the registration process as far as any type of exposure and announcements go. But here's what we do at the Keynote Curators, and here's what's important to keep in mind. We are year-round curating lists of speakers. We are year-round curating speakers in certain topic areas. We are year-round curating groups and lists of speakers for certain types of industries. We are year-round curating and developing lists of speakers in fee ranges so that we are ready when you need your ideas to be reviewed. We are ready to provide them. So this is not like, hey, let's see who's on the circuit and moving around or who's hot. If I have a client or a customer or a buyer who is recently finished a meeting and is not in the search mode, I will create a file for them if on the day of the meeting that the speaker they booked spoke, or the day after, the week after, I know or think that somebody I came across that's new or fresh, or a speaker that we formally introduced to them to consider that now has a new book or a new speech or both, would be a fit, then I will go ahead and begin to curate that tailored list for that customer when they're ready to look. If we have a conversation where they're not ready yet, I still will share some ideas with them so that they're not up against the wall time-wise. The biggest reason why the keynote speaker searches don't work is because you don't spend enough time before you get your group or your committee or your decision makers or your stakeholders together and do an advance on what it is you're looking for to narrow down the list, to have a real good, authentic conversation around what the messaging is. That's number one. Number two, the speaker search often starts too close to the date. Even 6 months might be too close, because between holidays and people taking time off and things happening in the office, these decisions require a lot of people. Just yesterday, I have a client that is looking for a speaker at the beginning of April. It's now about 10 weeks away, and they've been searching since November. They love the list. They just can't get their group together. This is not a first timer. This is somebody I've been booking with for 15 years. But there's new people on the committee. They had a big event that was a new event that pulled resources away, and it becomes a little bit of a drama, if you will. Who are we going to get? Who are we going to get? So what I offer is to partner up with us. Reach out to us, even when it's the off season of looking at speakers, and constantly be asking, who do you think would be good for us? Knowing what you know about us, who would be a fit? Or this is what we're looking for in the future. These are the things that we're grappling with or important, or the messaging that we really need to get. What would you recommend? And that gives me a little bit of a way to collaborate and partner up with my clients, my buyers, to go ahead and give me a better sense of what they're looking for, so I'm prepared. So it's a two-way street. Many meeting planners have a lot of resources. They talk amongst themselves, colleagues in other industries and in other companies that might even be competitors, to get a sense or some feedback or do some vetting. But we are 100% dedicated to understanding what your need is, having you confidently make the choice, meaning you're clear that they're going to hit the mark, and have it be an easy, smooth process that doesn't distract you from all the other important things that you have to do, like transportation, like food and beverage, like security, like registration, signage, things that come up on site that are unpredictable. All of those things can have your attention when you come and you involve yourself in the process of an ongoing curation of the speakers. So, the biggest mistake and the reason why it's not working is because it is addressed and approached as a one-time, once-a-year process where, okay, we start now, we have until this time to do it, and let's go and let's get it done. But life happens, as I mentioned, committees, stakeholders, things change, people move on from organizations, and it's too much at stake. There's too much at stake to have that important piece of your meeting, your keynote speaker, just be reduced down to a very short, dense, intense period of selection process. I recommend wholeheartedly that it should be a year-long process of curation, looking, and a conversation. When then you need to heat it up, and when you need to narrow it down and really check that the messaging is aligned, availability is there, and that they're going to deliver what you're looking for. That's when you can go ahead and pull the trigger and make the choice. So those are my thoughts for today. I thank everybody for joining us. I appreciate you being here. And again, for those that joined us live, thank you for being here. We are here every Wednesday around the noon hour Eastern time, providing curated insights for what the best approaches are to taking the most advantage of getting your keynote speaker to really hit that grand slam home run every time. For those that see the taped or the recorded presentation of today's LinkedIn Live, feel free to reach out to us through our social channels, on our website, give us a call, direct message us. So again, thank you so much for being with us today. We thank you so much and look forward to seeing you next time.